Releasing a summary of the long-awaited Mueller investigation. Mueller finding no evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. However, many Democrats not satisfied with the report. Mueller reaching no conclusion on whether or not the president obstructed justice, leaving that up to the Attorney General. Democrats say they want Mueller and Barr to testify, believing there was bias in the findings. And joining us right now to talk about the report, Republican and former state Senate President Mike Karadopoulos and Democratic political analyst Jason Henry. Gentlemen, great to have you both. Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
All right, so Jason, I'm going to start with you. Your thoughts when you read just this 4-page synopsis of the report.
Finally, it's over. I guess we can put it that way if we're looking at it from a Democratic perspective. But the thing I think that we need to focus on is that the president wasn't necessarily exonerated. No collusion with Russia, which, whatever that part, is not going to be something that we should harp on for a long time. But again, wasn't exonerated. I'd like to read the entire report, and this is just the beginning.
All right, so let's send it over to you, Mike. Your thoughts on this. What was most disturbing to you in reading this? Well,
I've talked about the good news. The good news is that we looked at the election, the Russians and Trump campaign were not in collusion. That's very important because that was the crux of the investigation. I think it's very positive. I think we're going to see in the next couple of years that they're going to continue to politically fight. The most upset people right now are the kids who are going back to school for spring break, and Aaron, and I think Representative Schiff, who has to deal with not being on TV every day. But to this real point, I'm glad to see this issue's behind us. But on the obstruction of justice, I think we'll be dealing with that the next 2 years because the Democrats are going to want to beat President Trump in the next election.
What was disturbing to me personally reading through it is how much the Russians tried to interfere in our election process, and reading all the efforts they went to. Happy to hear that the Trump campaign didn't take the bait, but they easily could have. Jason, was that disturbing to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if we look at this back in 2016, the main thing that we kept hearing was that Hillary's emails and the server that she was using at her private home, and how much the Russians were trying to help the president win the election. And we found out that just did not happen. Hillary Clinton, unfortunately, just lost the race fair and square. But again, going back to the report, I think for Democrats it's going to be important to focus on what Mueller did actually find. Look, 37 people have been charged in this, so there's something there. We just need to figure out what it is.
Right. Okay. And Mike, let's talk about that, because obviously this is a major concern. We don't want the Russians interfering in our elections. What can now be done to stop that from happening in the future?
Well, great point, Amy. I think you really hit the most disturbing part of the report. The Russians are clearly trying to influence our elections. We're glad that President Trump did not take that bait. As far as the persons who are been charged these crimes, these people broke the law. They evaded taxes, the persons who are going to jail, and they rightfully should go. And we'll see what some of the other figures go through. But when you don't tell the truth and you don't pay your taxes, you should go to jail. This is how it works. But let's do everything we can possibly to have bipartisan ways of making sure that outsiders from outside this country do not interfere in our elections. It's what America is all about.
Jason, we've heard from many Democrats who say they're not willing to give up. What are your thoughts on that? Is it time to move on?
Let it go and move on. There's so many other things that we can focus on with President Trump. Look, what happened in Puerto Rico, that all of a sudden has gone away. We saw that reports came out that the president was actually hiding or not giving the proper funding to Puerto Rico after the hurricane. There's so many other things that we can focus on. I can guarantee you Americans are not concerned about this report. There are other things that we should be talking about.
All right, you agree, Mike? Time to move on?
Well, Jason nailed it. Let's move on. We've got a lot of other issues in this country. Let's move forward as a country. I'm glad to see this issue, at least as far as Russian collusion, is behind us. Let's move forward and quote, make America great again.
All right, on to 2020, gentlemen. Here we go. The fight's not over. It never is. Thanks for being with us this morning. We appreciate both of you for being here. Jason Henry, Mike Karadopoulos.
Thanks, Amy.